2 minutes till broadcast.
All right, what's up, guys? Getting everything all going on with the live streams here. Radio broadcast starting up momentarily. If you are on the live streams, which are, I think, coming up here. Yeah, look at that. Then welcome aboard. Boy, do we have a show lined up today. It's going to be, as Donald Trump says, huge and bigly. We're going to have some fun today. Coming up, bottom of the hour, Selwyn Duke. He's a contributor, journalist for The New American. We're going to talk about some of the latest shootings going on across the nation and his research on, get this, kind of a sad topic to even think about, but preteen sociopaths. Are we going to see an increase in shootings with the young generation? So we'll do that. Top of the hour, man. We're killing it right out of the gate. Christina Bobb, she is the lawyer.
Till broadcast.
Thank you, Mrs. Voice of Reason. She's a lawyer for the Trump 2024 campaign, and she is author of the new book, Stealing Your Vote, the inside story of the 2020 election and what it means for 2024. We'll talk about some of that stuff coming up here. Also, got a lot more to get to as well. Like usual. What's going on, guys? All right. Yep. So we're live on there. We're live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch.tv and Getter and all those other places, both with our show page.
30 seconds till broadcast.
At Hooser Reason. Also on OpsLens, the national network there. Those guys are streaming it out. Killer numbers with those guys. So thank you guys for watching there. If you are on the social media, share it out. Let's break those algorithms. Let's have some fun today for a midweek celebration. Hang tight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Republicans right now, the conservatives, which unfortunately, this is what we have to do every time, even after a vote where people are sick and tired of the establishment, they're sick and tired of the squeezy, middle-of-the-road, squishy kind of Republican rhinos, and we vote conservatives in, then we have to fight tooth and nail in D.C. to actually be heard within the Republican Party.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You darn right it is. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Man, it's the midweek already. Can you believe it? It's flying right on by, and there's a lot to talk about today. I don't know, honestly, how we're going to get to everything in the program in this next hour, but we will do our darndest. So welcome into it, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship radio station. We are all over the country, though. Multiple radio stations, TV stations, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen to the program. What's up? Welcome aboard. Great to have you today. Your Millennial General reporting for duty like we do every single day. Boy, we have a heck of a show. Bottom of the hour, Selwyn Duke. He is an author. He is also a contributor to The New American, which you can find online at thenewamerican.com. Selwyn's joining us. Kind of a weird topic today, obviously, with some of the shootings that have gone on over the country the last few weeks. He's talking about the research he's done on, are we seeing an increase in younger shooters across the nation, and why, with his studies on preteen sociopaths. Say what? We'll get to that here in just a little bit, so we'll chat with him. We have some potential out of Washington, D.C. We have some tax conversations and more, but I don't want to waste any time because we have one heck of a guest to kick off the program right out of the gate, baby. That's how we roll here as we get into our What's Trending.
What's trending today?
And I know that we're coming off an election, and I know that we have some time before the next big election, but this is still top of mind for a lot of individuals. I mean, we came out of the midterm elections in November scratching our heads saying, wait, weren't we supposed to get like a red wave or something? And we got a slight majority in the House of Representatives. We did not get the U.S. Senate. And the next question is, what will Republicans do going into the presidential election? As former President Donald Trump has already announced his run for 2024, it's expected that Ron DeSantis is going to run. We, by the way, have a really big guest coming on in a couple days as well on Friday. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who's also had a book come out, and he's from the hometown right here in Wichita, Kansas, where we hail out of. We're going to sit down with him, and the rumor has it that he may be throwing his hat in the ring as well. But the election integrity is still a major issue. Legislators all over the country at the statewide level are still working on ways to try and clean up election integrity. And where are we? with that process. Really happy and honored to have on the program with us here. She is the lawyer for the Trump 2024 campaign, also of the new book, Stealing Your Vote, the inside story of the 2020 election and what it means for 2024. Really honored and happy to have on the program with us here, Christina Bobb. Christina, how are you today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the program. I appreciate you very much. What a fascinating topic. As you mentioned, we were talking a little bit off the air about a non-election season, still talking about elections, but this is still top of mind for people. I mean, election integrity, and now that legislative sessions all over the country are happening, that still seems to be a lot of legislation that are being presented in states all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud of American citizens that are not letting this go. We saw the media blitz that they tried to do November 3rd, November 4th, trying to convince everyone, oh, this is the most secure election in U.S. history, and Joe Biden is the most popular president in U.S. history, and people are just waking up to it saying, no, I don't think so. That might not be right, or there was a lot of weird things that happened, and I want to understand what happened, and people are stepping up to make sure that our elections are secure, and I'm just really proud and honored to get to work with a lot of these people and see what they're doing out on the ground and in the grassroots, and I'm encouraged for what lies ahead for America.
Yeah, amen to that. Talk about some of what you found in the book, and we've had different documentaries. Mike Lindell from MyPillow came out with his documentary and what he thought happened in 2020. We had Dinesh D'Souza come out with his documentary and what he thought happened in 2020, and obviously there's a lot of other investigations that are going on, and you're right, other people just blow it off as well. It's either old news and there's nothing we can do, so who cares, or it really didn't happen and Joe Biden really did get his 83, 84, 85 million votes in that election. But from what you've seen, what are you working on, and what have we found out about this?
Well, my assessment is that Democrats stole the election and Republicans covered it up. And for most of my efforts post-2020, we barely got the opportunity to fight Democrats on the issue because we had to fight Republicans the entire time. And Republicans are just as much, if not more, of the problem. So my book really just goes along my investigation and all the interviews that I did and the elected officials that I was working with and, what we were trying to accomplish. And, the reader just follows me along with it. So there's a lot of stories about my interactions with, elected officials all over the country and some of the witnesses all over the country. And it's just astonishing to me that we could have cleaned up 2020 in November of 2020. Like, we could have done it quickly if there were enough people who were willing to say, we have to take a closer look at this before we get to January 6th. So we could have done it, but we didn't, because Republicans have become the party of cowards. They've been the party of let's go along to get along. Let's let Democrats do whatever crazy Democrats do so we can keep our seats, we can keep our fancy titles and be proud of ourselves. And they're ruining this country because they're cowards.
Yeah. It falls right in line with what we've heard even this last election for the midterms, where it seems like even Mitch McConnell on the Senate side didn't appropriate the money where he needed to in certain elections, to where we could have, it seemed like, won the election on the Senate side and gained the majority. But they almost want to be the minority to complain about things and say this is what we'll do next time, but not actually ever go and do it. Is this what the trend that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think what's happening is this corruption has seeped through both the Democrat and Republican Party for decades, and they've taken on different roles. Like, is it the Republicans were the cowards, Democrats were the ones that were really feeding the corruption. And that was actually the original title of the book, was Cowardice and Corruption, and we decided to make it a little more election-specific. But I think that's just the way that it's been. But this MAGA movement is kind of forcing the corruption onto the Democrat side, because conservatives are becoming vocal and active in their communities, and they're putting MAGA patriots in office, at the very least at the primary level. And so when you have all these MAGA patriots at the primary level, the swamp cannot rely on the Republican Party anymore to play their game. And so it's forcing the corruption into the Democrat Party. So I think that's why we have such a vast divide. But I think it's actually a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's good because we're cleaning out the Republican Party, and the Democrat Party is next if it survives. I think conservatives, not just conservatives, a good, honest Americans are going to do the hard work necessary to clean up the elections, to make sure it's secure. I do expect that to happen. I expect us to have a good, honest election in 2024, or something relatively close to it. And I think it will eventually get cleaned up.
That would be interesting. We're talking with Christina Bobb, author of the book Stealing Your Vote, the inside story of the 2020 election and what it means for 2024. She's also the lawyer for the Trump 2024 campaign. That's where I wanted to go next was, I mean, right now we do have a slim majority in the House of Representatives, and many of them, especially the holdouts when we voted for the McCarthy Speaker of the House, which was fascinating to watch, I think.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And conservatives holding their ground when it came to Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz. And some of the other ones that they held their ground. And now we're seeing conservatives and MAGA individuals actually hold positions in committees and even run certain committees. Do you see this as a positive, and will it start changing the way DC's run right now?
100%. It's the first sign of life in our Congress. You know, the reason we have, 535 members of Congress in the House and Senate is it's supposed our founding fathers wanted there to be conflict. They wanted there to be this discourse and people debating and arguing over what was best for the nation, and ultimately come up to the best conclusion. Well, we haven't had that for decades because everyone goes along to get along, and they all agree behind closed doors and just say, okay, just toe the party line. And finally, I feel a heartbeat in Congress, with Matt Gaetz and his leading the charge. No, we're actually going to debate this. We're actually going to stand our ground, and you actually have to give us some concessions. And he got what he wanted. I think he served his constituents, not just his constituents, the entire nation. Yeah. And I'm really excited about this. And I don't normally do this, and I try not to make a habit of it, but I will actually give Kevin McCarthy some credit because he also has done what he said, and he has put them on committees. He could have been spiteful and said, I'm not going to let you be on committees, I'm not going to let you be involved, but he didn't. And, I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, I do as well. I really hope he sticks to it as we continue on further down the line because we have some major issues coming up, including the debt ceiling, government shutdowns, and others. So I hope he sticks to his guns and continues with the promises that he made. Being part of the legal team for the Trump campaign as well, obviously, like you mentioned, we've had a lot of issues in the 2020 race. Are you guys prepared for what's coming up in 2024, and what could that potentially look like? Because I'm assuming they're going to throw everything at you guys again to make him not a viable candidate, and that's already started, I think.
Yeah, I cannot even fathom what they're going to try to throw at us again, particularly at him. But President Trump, they come up with the most bizarre accusations that quickly fall apart, given 6 months to a year. So who knows what they're going to do next? But just like every other hoax that they've tried, he's going to weather that storm. He's going to come out victorious. Quite honestly, the more they try it, I think the more it turns the people against them. So, we'll see what they try. But we'll be ready for it. We're excited about 2024. We're, of course, we all believe very much in Donald Trump and believe that he will be victorious. But we recognize there's a lot of work to do and that, we got to get a lot of people involved.
Well, he's not allowed to have classified documents, right? Joe Biden can have them next to his Corvette in his garage, but Trump can't have any classified documents. Yeah,
Trump isn't allowed to do anything that the powers that be haven't expressly said he's allowed to do. Yeah. The rules do not apply to Donald. The rules do not apply to Donald Trump in the sense that they're going to make something up. But quite honestly, this whole fiasco has really just justified his call with Zelensky because he was like, hey, I think there's something weird going on with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the Ukraine. Can you tell me what's going on? Everyone tried to hang him for it. Well, turns out he was right. Hunter Biden's got Ukraine documents, classified documents in his house. We've got stuff on the laptop showing that, there's 10% going to the big guy. Hunter's getting kickbacks from Burisma. President Trump was right. Of course, on like he is on everything. He was right. There's a problem there.
Yeah, he's been right on a lot of stuff. We got just a couple minutes left here before we have to let you go. The book is Stealing Your Vote, the inside story of the 2020 election and what it means for 2024. And you already kind of hinted towards it a little bit, but there's a lot of people that I've heard from that are MAGA individuals, conservatives, and Trump supporters who are concerned about Donald Trump going into another general election because of the way the electoral system is. On will they steal it again, and will we be back in the same boat with putting a Democrat in the presidency in 2024? How secure do you think it will be by that time as we continue to clean up that system?
Well, I think if everybody gets involved, we all have to throw our weight behind this. The advantage that we have, there's different advantages on both sides, the left and the right. The advantage that MAGA has is there's way more of us than there are of them, and so this big majority that we all know we have, but nobody ever sees, has to get involved. And for those that are concerned and say, oh, I don't know if our elections are secure, well, get involved and find out. Become part of the solution. And I think it'll give you a lot of hope, because you'll realize there's a lot of great people working on this, a lot of great people that really want to see our elections secure and are giving their time, money, and resources to actually be a part of the solution. And I think that will make you feel better. But, too, it will also help us because, it's another body that we need working on it. So for those that are concerned and aren't really sure what to do, the best resolution for that is to get involved and find out for yourself.
Get involved and go and vote. I love it. Stealing Your Vote is the book. Go and check it out. Christina, it's so great and honor to have you on the program. I appreciate you very, very much. Keep up the fight. Keep up going. I know it's going to be a hard battle for you guys for the next couple of years, but I know you guys have it, and I appreciate it. Let's get you back on the show again real soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. There we go. Good stuff there. We'll break it down when we come back here. So much to do here on a Wednesday on The Voice of Reason. Back after this here on The Voice of Reason for a midweek celebration.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to The Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring The Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from The Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. The show is growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on The Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. 24 minutes past the hour. Thanks again to Christina coming on the show. Again, she is the lawyer for the Trump 2024 campaign. Also, her book that just came out as well, talking about the elections, Stealing the Vote. We appreciate her. We'll get her back on the show again real soon. Man, I tell you what, killing it. That's what we're doing here on the program. That's what we do every single day. By the way, speaking of the Trump campaign, the next question is, who's he going to partner with? Who's going to tag team with to run? Who's going to be the running mate? Obviously, Mike Pence is out of the picture because Mike Pence is looking for a potential run of his own on the presidency, which, if you want to put on the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory thing for a second, that's one of the reasons probably why he released his quote-unquote classified documents now, to bring the attention away from Joe Biden, back onto the Republicans, look like he's working with the Department of Justice and the National Archives, and then try and put attention back onto Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has come out and defended Mike Pence and said, leave him alone. He did nothing wrong. So that's cool. I guess they're on semi-decent terms, but I highly doubt that they're actually going to be running mates again going into 2024. I'm just throwing that out there. So who could it be that's going to run actually with the Trump campaign? And I think it would be smart for him to announce it relatively early in the race. Maybe not now, obviously. We still have like 2 years to go for this thing, but it might be a good idea for him to announce it relatively early before anybody else, because it would really build up the base. Right now, I think Donald Trump, from what I've heard at least, the rumor mill and talking to people on the street, is that while they still like Donald Trump, they're hesitant about him running again, because will they pull the same shenanigans they did last time? And as we just talked about with Christina, that, hey, if you're concerned about that, then we need to, again, overbear the system so much that it breaks the algorithm, and therefore we, have a chance at actually winning this thing. There's a name that's popped up that I find kind of interesting. And that name is Congresswoman from the state of Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, oh boy. Now, you want to talk about breaking the establishment. You want to talk about breaking the norm in D.C., getting rid of the establishment hack rhino Republicans and just going full on MAGA and just overturning the tables at the outside of the mosque kind of thing. If you do something like that, that would definitely rally, I think, the MAGA individuals. It would scare the rhinos, and it would definitely scare the hell out of the Democrats. The Democrats have already gone on sabotage mode, trying to criminalize them and try to downplay them, because Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz and all these other conservatives that were somewhat of the holdouts from Kevin McCarthy's speaker vote are the ones that are now heading up some of these committees, or at least being part of these committees, that's making Democrats squirm and lose their minds. They still go after Marjorie Taylor Greene for being the quote-unquote QAnon movement, or being part of the conspiracy theory realm, or whatever else they try to say. So they would demonize her to the nth degree, but would it really faze Republicans if she did run with Trump and was the VP choice? It would solidify the red states, I think, in the southern regions of the country. I don't know if that necessarily helps, because he already had those locked in, but it would definitely boost that morale from there. Him coming from Florida, her coming from Georgia, and kind of running. I don't know if that's politically smart, but man, you want to talk about a firebrand where you know she's not going to take any crap, then you know the tickets. Donald Trump and MTG rocking it together, that would be a hell of a ticket. I don't know what to think about it. I'm not saying I endorse it, but it would definitely be one that would shake up the political realm for sure, because it would not be wanting to. It's a message being sent to everybody saying, we're not here to play nice. We're here to do what needs to be done and what we believe needs to be done. I think that many moderate Republicans would shy away from that ticket, but I think it would also bring a lot of people out of the woodworks that don't normally vote, that are politically inactive because they don't like the system that says, hey, this is going to overturn the tables everywhere, and I like that idea. So that's been floating out there. NBC News is breaking that when Marjorie Taylor Greene aims to be Trump's VP pick in 2024, which is maybe why she tried to play nice during the whole Kevin McCarthy Speaker of the House vote, because Trump was encouraging everybody to vote for Kevin McCarthy and to not look foolish as a party, and she's been rock solid behind Trump the entire time. That would be an interesting ticket. Your thoughts on that when we come back in more. Selwyn Duke right around the corner as well for the New American. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world, and it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you, but what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this, but the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That, plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit, by no means. However, we talked about it, and I thought, our ancestors were so smart. They know, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But and so like plant-based formula, the raw natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while, and people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people try
It's been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
my leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yeah,
You know, it's
right.
like, dude, your leg is still severely broken.
Right.
You just can't feel anything.
Yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, just
Mentally and physically.
Yes. Well, I mean, but there's other remedies out there. In everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured
We're all
now.
getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's
Yeah.
that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website, where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, man, there's so much to talk about and so little time to do it. Welcome back into the program. Halfway through on the home stretch here for a midweek celebration. Thanks for hanging out with us wherever you may be. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting on all our different platforms and multiple radio stations all over the place. I do want to give you a shout out as well that if you are watching on the live streams, first off, welcome. You can find it really anywhere. We are like almost spread a little too thin with so many platforms. You can find it on our personal pages on social media at Hooser Reason. That's HOOSER Reason on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch.tv and Getter. And we also have our other social media that has Instagram and TikTok and those as well. Then we have OpsLens, that is the great network that simulcasts us on their social media and their website and their app as well at opslens.com, OPSLENS.com, and their app on their social media with their Facebook and their YouTube and their Twitch.tv and their Getter as well. So we are all over the place. We got a lot of views online, and we love you guys to death and appreciate that very, very much. There's some news coming out, by the way, with OpsLens that we'll get to later on, but highly recommend it. There's been some weird glitchiness in the OpsLens stream on Facebook, so if you try to watch it on Facebook sometimes, then I recommend go to Getter. You got to get the Getter, sign up for Getter, and you can find OpsLens or my page, and you can watch it on there, as a lot of people are moving there, and we get some really cool numbers. So what's up, guys, and welcome aboard. Appreciate that. Let's get into our What's Trending of the day.
What's trending today?
Back to back, man. We had Christina Bobb on the program, lawyer for the Trump 2024 campaign, just a little bit ago, in her new book. And now this guy, which I love, he's our investigative journalist that we love to go to, and we have him on the show as much as we possibly can, as obviously there's been in the news again the issues of shootings across the nation, and what are teenagers and young preteens growing up to view the world, and how are they going to contribute to the issue of violence in community. Excited to have on the program. He's a contributor to The New American, along with other outlets as well, Mr. Selwyn Duke. Selwyn, Happy New Year. How are you, my friend?
Thank you. Same to you, Andy. I'm great. And how are you?
We are living the dream. It's always good to have you on the program because investigative journalism isn't dead, and you proved that, even though the mainstream media doesn't like to do it themselves.
Yeah, well, I try my best, and as far as the mainstream media goes, they only investigate how to propagandize the population more effectively, right?
Yeah, they're all about that divide and conquer, and we're seeing that day in and day out. Let's talk about the shootings. Obviously, there's been some major shootings over the last week or so, which is, again, unfortunate. It's sad. But are we focusing on the right thing? The mainstream media, the Democrats, the elites in D.C., they always go after the first and foremost is, well, the gun. I mean, if we just ban the gun, then it wouldn't happen, and all the gun shootings would go away. We could have stabbings. I just saw a video on social media, actually, right before I went on the program, of a gal who walked in with an axe, like a splitting maul for wood, that walked into a gas station, swung it at a guy and chopped his cheek off, and then attacked another lady that was in a checkout line and ran off. Didn't happen with a gun, but by golly, we're not talking about those. What's going on with this whole Second Amendment and shootings issue across the nation? Do we have an anger issue in the country?
Yeah, well, obviously you might say, why don't we propose knife control too? And don't say that too loudly because they actually did that in Great Britain.
Yeah, exactly.
But the bottom line is this. Even if you believe in gun control, and I don't, you should understand that there's a deeper issue here, a much deeper issue. I mean, listen, Andy, in the 1940s and 50s, boys would sometimes take rifles openly on the New York City subways. Think about that, because they had riflery clubs at school.
Yeah.
No one panicked. There were no shootings. So what has changed in our society? Well, we know very well, many of us anyway, that we're experiencing a moral crisis. But how do you define this well? Well, think about this, okay? So I'm a bit of a philosopher. If you could convince people that morality didn't exist, obviously you might think you were setting the stage for great evil to occur, but in a very real sense, people have come to believe that. And what I'm talking about is, I've long said that moral relativism, the idea that there really is no right or wrong, it's all just a function of what man believes, it's a social construct, that has been the characteristic philosophical disease of our time. It has swept our civilization. Well, lo and behold, some years ago, I came across a 2002 Barna Group Research Company study that vindicated what I had been saying. It found that back then already, get this, only 6% of teens believed in absolute truth, okay? Only 6%. Now, here's the thing. When you don't have the truth to refer to when making moral decisions, what do you have left to use as a yardstick? Well, there's one thing you have left. The main thing is emotion, and sure enough, that's what Barna found. The method that Americans were most likely to use when making decisions as to how to act was emotion, what felt right. Okay, now that we know that, we have to ask, well, how are kids' feelings today being shaped? How are their emotions being shaped? They're being shaped with popular culture, which is very, very dangerous, very destructive. It's rife with violence, rife with gratuitous sexuality. And I don't know, maybe I'm going on too long, but there's a very, very interesting study that took place in the 90s, and it was very, very valid, too, I believe. And what it found was very interesting. It found that in any part of the world you pick, 15 years, Andy, after television was introduced, crime shot way up. Way up. Now, why 15 years? Because that's the amount of time it takes to wean one generation on violent television fare. And get this, there was also another aspect to this study. In South Africa, television had been banned till 1975 for internal security reasons. And up until that point, crime rates in South Africa were lower than in other nations with similar demographics. But once they legalized television, you saw the same phenomenon. 15 years later, at most, crime shot way up. So this is something we really should be thinking about. Now, again, stop me if I'm going on too long, but one problem people have with this, Andy, is that oftentimes they become defensive because it's very easy for us to throw shade on things of the next generation, but we tend to defend the entertainment we grew up with. And I had to come to terms with the fact at one point that many of the things that I grew up with were not completely wholesome. It's very important to turn that discerning eye upon the things we grew up with, not just the things of the next generation. That's one factor. You have violent video games. And these things are very significant because, again, as I said, years ago, we didn't have very many gun control laws, but we didn't have as much violence. We didn't have these school shootings. So something has changed above and beyond just access to guns, right?
Yeah, exactly. Man, I tell you, this is why I love having you on the program, because you literally covered like all the points that we wanted to make, and you going to that philosophical level is right in the sweet spot of what we like to do on this program. Let's talk about that absolute truth for a second, though. I was not aware that those that believed in a quote-unquote absolute truth was that low. Now, does that constitute as well as a religious belief or a higher power belief of there's an absolute truth based on a higher power or a higher being above humans, or was that just this is what's right, and this is what's wrong, period, end of story, just go along with it? I mean, where does that fall in line?
Okay, Okay, well, obviously, the concept of absolute truth correlates with there being a God, because the idea is that there is a God, he has established moral law. We often call that truth, and it's non-negotiable. Now, if you embrace atheism, and I used to be a non-believer, understand, so I know exactly where these people are coming from. If you embrace atheism, a corollary of that is that there's no truth, because who's to say then man is the measure of all things, as the Greek philosopher Protagoras put it. And then ultimately, everything boils down to occultist Aleister Crowley's formulation, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. You know, who's to say what's right or wrong? It's all a matter of perspective. You remember, Andy, not that many years ago, we used to hear this from liberals all the time. They would say, that's your truth. Someone else's truth might be different, or don't impose your values on me. And understand, before, when I cited the Barna Group study, I was saying 6% of teenagers didn't believe in truth. Now, among the general population, it was only 30-some-odd percent. There was 6% of teenagers who did believe in truth. I think I misspoke there. It was 30-odd% of the general population that believed in truth, but still a minority. So, yes, it is pretty low. And not only that, get this, only 9% of born-again teens believed in truth. So that tells you how far gone even many people who claim to be believers are. I mean, that means they've completely missed the point of their faith, because obviously Jesus told us that not only is there a truth, but he told us what it is. He's the truth.
Yeah.
So, yes, it obviously correlates with religious belief, with Christianity, which has been declining precipitously in recent years.
Well, and that's the next point, is now we see the trends that, and I've seen the study over and over, and I'm sure you can confirm that as government size grows, those that have religious belief begin to dwindle, because like you said, we stop looking for the higher power to solve the issues or to look for guidance, and we start looking towards man to solve it. Whenever a shooting happens, what do? First, we just go to the government and say, government, do something. Government, pass a regulation. Government, pass a law. Do something, because we don't want to see this happen any longer. So the next question is how can we, quote unquote, regulate morality through the government, which is what I think we're trying to do now, as opposed to the family values at home, teaching people what is right and what is wrong based on the religious values, or just based on the basic morality principles that we have in the home. We don't have those any longer because we're looking for the government to do something.
Right. Well, obviously, if you don't really believe in the higher power, Andy, you often tend to make government your higher power or your highest power. And, of course, the statists love that. That's why they've always attacked the church. That's why the Chinese government does it today. That's why Stalin did it in the Soviet days, because they understand that the church is their main competitor. If people put God's laws first and foremost, then when the government's laws conflict with those, people are going to say, wait a second, we can't abide by these governmental laws, because they're wrong, and of course the government doesn't want that. But absolutely. But here's the thing.
I tell
we
you what,
also
so
have to say now,
hold that thought real quick. We got to take a hard break here in just a second. So I want to continue that conversation, because again, it is fascinating on where we're seeing that line being drawn. And like you said, the breakdown of those moralities, your reality is different than mine, so therefore we need to question it. Don't impose your morality onto me. It goes into a lot of social issues we're seeing today. When we come back, I want to continue that, but also ask when it bleeds into maybe the abortion issue on the value of life and devaluing human life. Is that an increase of an effect on this as well? Lots more coming up with Selwyn Duke right here on a Wednesday for The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to The Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring The Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends, or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hoosier Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the Voice of Reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hoosier Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hoosier Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, ourfreedombook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Is it just me, or did this entire program just go by as a blur? It went by so fast. We've covered so much ground. Welcome back into it. Last few minutes of the show here. We are killing it with Selwyn Duke, the man himself, selwynduke.com. You can also check out his writings at thenewamerican.com and other sites as well, as we talk about the loss of morality, the questioning of authority and questioning of morality, just to push those boundaries. It's very frustrating sometimes. I've been in those debates on social media and in person of, we can't, don't try to impose your morality onto me, which is a new thing now. Someone, you may have heard of this. What do they call it? The Christian nationalism, or Christian radical right nationalism, or something, to where it's the religious types imposing their will at the governmental level, which I admit I don't want either, because we like a separation of church and state, even though that's not in the Constitution. We have our Judeo-Christian values that are already built into the Constitution, unlike what Kamala Harris says when she says the right to liberty and pursuit of happiness. She forgot the whole life thing, which is pretty wild. But while we see massive shootings going on across the country, do you think that's contributed, especially with the abortion debate, when we said, hey, this is a human thing, this is a living organism, and we look at bacteria as a living organism on Mars, but yet we've devalued the human life experience because, well, it doesn't matter unless we say it matters, because there's apparently some arbitrary line on when life actually matters and when it doesn't. Has this contributed to maybe the dehumanization or desensitivizing of the young generation?
I would say no doubt, and I'd say, Andy, it's both a cause and an effect. Now, it's a cause because obviously when you have rampant abortion, that's basically an object lesson that sends the message that human life doesn't really matter. You can take it if it's inconvenient for you. But it's also an effect of what we've been talking about, because like I said, relativism is a corollary of atheism. And you have to remember this. The whole idea behind human life being sacred, Andy, is that we were created by God, and we're not just flesh, we're also spirit. We're sacred beings. Yeah. Therefore, you can't just take human life, innocent human life, willy-nilly, okay? However, think about it. If we're just cosmic accidents, if we just arose out of the muck, then what are we? We don't have spirit. We don't have souls. Then we're basically just organic robots, some pounds of chemicals and water. That's what we are. Or as botanist Lawrence Trevanian put it, objects that perceive. That's how he described human beings. Now, of course, then you have to conclude, what could be wrong with terminating the function of a robot if you think that robot isn't functioning the way you'd like it to? What's wrong with manipulating the circuitry of a robot, which we could call genetic engineering, right? What's wrong with manipulating the software of a robot? That would be social engineering, you see? Then the sky's the limit, or maybe I should say Hades is the limit. But that's ultimately what it comes down to, and that's why it's so important to have this belief in God, because otherwise, how do you possibly say that human life is worth anything? Because, again, we're just organic robots. Now that we're talking about this, I just want to say one more thing, Andy. I want to also give people a solution, because we always talk about the problems, but oftentimes the solutions aren't discussed enough. Okay, so we have this moral crisis. Our morals have been undermined. What is the solution to that? The solution is moralization. Okay, now, if morality came in a jar, what would be on the ingredients label? Well, virtues would be. Things like charity, chastity, courage, diligence, hope, love, so on and so forth. I mean, there are many of them. Now, once you understand this, things start to become clear, Andy, because it's like this. If you want to teach a child tennis or become better at tennis yourself, you come to understand the principles of tennis, and then you apply them. Same thing here. If you want to improve the morality of your society or your child or in yourself, you come to understand the principles of morality, and then you try to cultivate them in yourself and inculcate them in your children and encourage them in others. So what is my prescription here? 1, come to understand that truth exists. No, morality is not a matter of opinion. We're talking about objective reality here. And then come to understand what the truth dictates, what those elements of morality are, namely the virtues, and then try to cultivate them. Now, it's not easy to do necessarily, but it's very easy to understand. And we just have to set out to do it.
There it is. I completely agree. It's going to be a tough challenge to try and bring awareness to the issue. But if we're going to survive it and if we're going to move forward in a positive light, that's what needs to be done. And I think it can be done. And again, like you said, not through the government and through regulation of doing something, but leading by example in your community. Because when you do it and you're doing well, other people are going to want to see exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it as well. Selwyn, we're out of time, my friend. This is why I love having you on the program. I appreciate it so much. We got to do this again real soon, brother.
Love to. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Hey, you as well. Always a pleasure. There it is. That does it for us today What a heavy conversation all across the board for the entire hour. I love it. Hopefully you did as well. We'll do it again tomorrow on the program. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change in your own community. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website, or social media links,